Hi, folks. In this episode, we're going to have the first guest in the history of this podcast, my daughter, Bernadetta. First, let me allow her to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Bernadetta. I'm Ethan's daughter. I'm in 4th grade, and today I'm going to be talking about David Byrne and the concert that we just went to, and also just about me. I really love singing and music and piano. I'm doing choir, I'm doing acting, I do a lot of dance. Most of my friends don't like the music that I like, but I really like how some of the teachers, like one friend and family, knows who I'm talking about.
I grew up on Talking Heads. I'm a child of the 80s. I heard And She Was and Up All Night on people's mixtapes and on the radio. And the first band that I was ever in college did a cover of And She Was. I was a very intense Talking Heads fan into my 20s. I have transcribed and arranged and learned many Talking Heads songs. When my kids were really little, I like to sing them This Must Be the Place Naive Melody as a lullaby because it's long and repetitive and soothing. They definitely heard these tunes quite a bit as they were growing up, and I think they always just kind of liked them passively, but then there was a turning point, which was when my wife and I went to see David Byrne's American Utopia on Broadway. And we did not bring the kids with us. First of all, those tickets were expensive. And second of all, we had no way of predicting that they would have enjoyed such a thing. They wanted to know where we had been and what we had been doing. And there was, the movie version of American Utopia. So I was like, oh, let's just watch a little bit of it. And they were into it, both my son and my daughter, but especially my daughter.
One night, it was like my parents' anniversary or something, and they went to one of his concerts, and me and my brothers just stayed home. We just hung out. And then they came back, and the next night, they played us the movie American Utopia. I was like, how dare you not take me?
Yeah, she just loves the movie and has been listening to the songs very intensively and has memorized several of them, enjoys singing them along with me, along with the recordings, and for the past several years has been demanding and begging to go see the man play. And she kept saying, when can we go see him? When can we go see him? And I was just like, as soon as he comes to town. And then finally he announced that he was doing this tour. And we got tickets for Radio City Music Hall, which is just such an amazing venue. John Mulaney calls it a deeply haunted building, which is accurate. And yeah, the kids were super, super jazzed. Bernadetta was over the moon. And in fact, she was so over the moon about it that I was a little bit concerned that she might be disappointed after all that anticipation by the experience. But fortunately, no, she really just was fully into it. And she loved the music. She loved the staging, just the whole experience of it.
We saw the movie American Utopia, and it felt like I was watching that, but I could sing the songs the second it was being played. And I could dance along with it while they were actually dancing it. And it felt really special. Before the concert, for the whole day, I was being oh my gosh, I'm so excited in my head for the whole day. It was really fun and exciting. I think it was the most exciting thing that happened in my life so far.
I love David Byrne in all his incarnations, but it has been especially gratifying to see what it is about him and about Talking Heads that my kids react to, because they have their own personalities and their own lenses for looking at things. And Bernadetta is especially into the dance aspect of these movies, especially American Utopia. She loves the choreography, and she herself is a very avid dancer. She's been taking ballet and tap for a couple years. And yeah, that is very much the lens through which, she views these performances.
I don't know all of like the dancers and the musicians, but of course David Byrne was there, and then there was a couple people from the movie American Utopia, and then there were a bunch of new people. In one part they like picked up a bunch of different like dancers and David Byrne himself, and the whole time they had him in the air, or any of the other dancers. I was like, oh my gosh, be careful, like I don't want you to die, because it looked like they were about to drop the person that second. So that was like scary but really cool. There was like, I think 5 dancers. I liked their dance moves. And something I thought of was, I'm pretty sure the people who were dancing did a lot of ballet, because it looked like they had very good posture. They were able to hold people up, and it reminded me of, well, I do ballet.
She's also very interested in the visual aspect, in the projections.
Sometimes, like in the background, there was videos, there was pictures, and in one of the songs, it was of his apartment, and it was his actual apartment. And it was so cool. Like, he talked about how that's where he spent like all of COVID. And it was so cool to see his apartment. So that was crazy. I think there was some of like protests. There was some where they like typed out words in different colors. And there was some of like nature. There was like houses, there was buildings, there was people. I think they all looked really cool. The nature was really pretty.
And so I asked Bernadetta what songs she especially reacted to at the show. For me, it was really exciting to hear Houses in Motion.
Never get to say much, never get to talk. Tell us a little bit, but not too much.
Of course, I always enjoy hearing the Talking Heads' greatest hits, but Bernadetta really likes his new stuff.
I don't know what it's called, but it's like, everybody laughs and everybody sings, something like that.
Everybody laughs and everybody cries. Everybody lives and everybody dies. Everybody eats and everybody loves. Everybody knows what everybody does. Everybody's going through the changes. Every complication. What you say with gesture and expression in my imagination.
I like the t-shirt song. I don't know what that one is called either. I like Everybody's Coming to My House.
Imagine looking at a picture. Imagine driving in a car. Imagine rolling down the window. Imagine opening the door. Everybody's coming to my house. Everybody's coming to my house. I'm never gonna be alone. And I'm never
Down the House was one of my favorites. Also, Slippery People.
What about the time you were rolling over, fall on your face? You must be having fun. Walk lightly, think of the time. You best believe, and this thing is real. Now, put away that gun. This thought is simple. Try to recognize what is in your mind. God help us lose our minds. These slippery people help us understand what's the matter with.
I think there's like some about him, there's some about just regular people, there's some that are just random facts. There is one literally about my apartment is my best friend.
So forgive me if I hesitate, if a tear comes now and then. You stood by me when darkness fell. My apartment is my friend. My apartment is my friend. The days of laughter and joy.
Like just random facts he thinks of in his head. And like he thinks of memories, he thinks of stuff that is happening. I really like that. I think like the different notes and the words I really like.
Bernadetta shares my opinion that concert sound is too loud.
There was like speakers lined all against the wall. I think if it was a little quieter, it would be a lot better, but it was amazing to actually hear the songs as they're actually being played. I really liked like the amount of instruments, and this time they had like string instruments, and that was really cool, and I was so surprised like how good they were at those instruments.
Her favorite Talking Head song is Don't Worry About the Government, and that's really a highlight of American Utopia for her, and she and I were both kind of bummed that he didn't do it at the show at Radio City.
So my dad usually plays him a lot. Before I knew him, I just thought of them as regular songs. I liked them. I started purposefully listening to his songs, and I think the first one that really like grabbed me, and I still sing it and like know most of the words, is Don't Worry About the Government.
I see the clouds that move across the sky. I see the wind that moves the clouds away. It moves the clouds over by the building. I pick the building that I want to live in. I smell the pine trees and the beeches in the woods. I smell the pine cones that fall by the highway. That's the highway that goes to the building. That's the building that I want to live in. It's over there, it's over there. My building has every convenience. It's gonna make life easy for me.
In the movie, the dances were really cool. I liked the lighting effects, and that was one of the like first songs I really heard and like really listened to.
And so in American Utopia, the song is paired with I Know Sometimes a Man Is Wrong from one of his solo albums.
I know sometimes a man is wrong. I know sometimes I do believe. I know sometimes a man is wrong. I'll be wrong until you're next to me.
Bernadetta understandably thought that they're all one song.
So when I first heard that, yeah, I thought it was the same song and it was connected, because they didn't do like a big pause in between. And so I thought it was just like a little transition to the different part of the song.
wind that moves the clouds away.
They do make a really interesting combination, right? Like, I got to really give David Byrne credit for pairing them together because there's no obvious thematic similarity between them. There's not really a lot of musical similarity. But yeah, they do have this attractive, intuitive flow between them. When they re-released Stop Making Sense in the theaters, there was a screening at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, which is pretty near where we live. And the band themselves came to do a Q&A after the screening. So we brought the kids and they loved the movie. It was extremely exciting for them to be in a room with talking heads. And my daughter even got to shake David Byrne's hand in the lobby.
We were all in the theater, and then at the end, David Byrne and some of his band members came out and talked about it. And somehow we managed to grab front row seats, and he was literally 5 feet away from us. It was crazy. When we first went into the building where it was, I actually got to say hi to David Byrne, and that was amazing.
She enjoyed Stop Making Sense, but what she really digs is American Utopia and present-day David Byrne. She prefers American Utopia to Stop Making Sense. She enjoyed Stop Making Sense, but she loves American Utopia. She prefers the music, she prefers the staging, just the whole thing.
That one's a lot newer. The sound is a little better. I like their outfits a little more. The staging was a little better.
I think there's a couple of possible reasons for that. One of them is just kids are not very punk, right? Little kids, they don't like irony, they don't like anxiety, they don't like anger in their music necessarily. Certainly my kids don't. They like sincerity, they like directness, they like single entendre. And Stop Making Sense is brilliant, but David Byrne does not look well in that film, right? He looks very anxious. His eyes are kind of bugged out. He's drenched in sweat. He has this sort of manic intensity that, as an anxious, angry 25-year-old, I related to very strongly. But if you're, 7, I can see how it would be a little bit off-putting, right? Present-day David Byrne just seems like he's got it together. He seems very content. He seems like he's in a good place internally. And his artistic persona is, Tina Weymouth once compared it to Mr. Rogers. And I think that's pretty accurate. He just seems like your cool grandpa. And yeah, it's not mysterious at all to me why a young kid might, find that appealing. When they were really little, I was bringing her and her brother home from something or another, and they were both in the stroller. And we went past the Barclays Arena, which is, near our apartment. And it was the day of the MTV Music Video Awards or the Grammys or something. And as we were going down the sidewalk, David Byrne was just standing there on the sidewalk in front of the Barclays Center. I don't know if he was waiting for an Uber or what he was doing out there. And I was very excited to see him, obviously. And I told the kids, I'm like, oh my gosh, do you know who that guy is? I mean, that song I sing to you at bedtime all the time? He wrote that song. Oh my gosh. And they were like, yeah. Can we go home, please? And then they saw a bulldozer and they were really excited about this bulldozer because they were little, And my daughter is pretty mad that she was not yet old enough to appreciate the excitement of seeing David Byrne on the street.
Me and my brother were in a stroller. And he was like, oh my gosh, hi. And me and Milo were like, can we go? And so I wish I was a little older then so that I wouldn't have to push him away.
Bernadetta has also been taking piano for a few years, and she has even learned a couple of Talking Head songs. And Talking Head songs are really an underutilized resource for music education. Some of them are kind of complex, but some of them are extremely simple and extremely repetitive at that kind of basic musical level. So, for example, Slippery People, which is an absolute banger, has one chord, A minor, for the whole tune. And, it has this funky syncopated rhythm, but it's not that hard. And so early in her piano career, I did teach Bernadetta how to play A minor so that she and I could play the song together. And I played the bass line and some of the like little guitar riffs, and we sang it. And yeah, pretty fun. Burning Down the House has a grand total of 3 chords. Most of the tune is just G and F. It does go to A really briefly, but yeah, that's also pretty accessible if you just want to like hit the chords or the bass line. And so I taught her that one as well.
I haven't learned all his songs. I've only learned like 2. I think Slippery Purple and Burning Down the House. And I only learned like a couple like chords or notes or single notes or like beats that I could actually play. Yeah. And so the whole time my dad was playing the guitar while I was playing some of the notes. But now I want to learn really a lot of his songs. I want that to be like a new section for me in my piano practicing. I think that would be really cool and fun. Like you would think when you first listen to them, and if you don't know like a lot of music or like how to play it, you would think they're like so complicated and they're like really hard and like how does he do this? But most of his songs, there's tricky rhythms or notes or like transitions, but most of them are pretty easy if you learn how to do it. So I feel like I could learn them in a good amount of time.
As the kids and I have been exploring the Talking Heads and David Byrne back catalog, I was reminded of this really amazing performance that he did of Psycho Killer in 1997 on this TV show Sessions at West 54th Street. And I'll let Bernadetta describe it to you.
In one of his like shows, it was like back in the old times, he wore like a whole like body costume of like the human body. And it was like all the veins, all the bones, all the muscles. It looked so weird. And it was like a full body suit. Like, I don't know, like a Spider-Man suit. And like it zipped on his back like fully so that his head was completely covered. His body was completely covered. And it was so weird.
Can't see your face up to the facts. Tense and nervous, can't relax. Can't sleep, bed's on fire. Don't touch me, I'm a real live one. Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Yeah, and I'm like, that's what? And when I first saw it, like when my dad first showed it to me, I was like, no, just no. And for the first like 10 minutes of it, I was like, I have no idea who this is, because I never thought David Byrne would ever wear something like that. And then at the end of the video, I was like, Dad, who is this? And he's like, David Byrne. I was like, what? I had to rewatch that video like 7 times to understand it.
Bernadetta has also done a little bit of songwriting and composition.
I do a little bit of compositions. Like, I just think of like random tunes on the piano, and then I ask my dad to type them in. My dad is a music teacher, and he uses that for like a lot of his like songs or warm-ups for his classes. And my brother was actually on the radio a couple weeks ago, or like a month ago. And that was so cool. We actually heard one of his actual compositions that he made at home. And I hope that happens to me one day. I want to make a little more, but that's like not my main focus. My main focus is piano and like singing. But I really like doing compositions like to the side of that.
I asked her about her own ambitions as a performer, and she reported that
I have like very bad stage fright. I do choir concerts. I did a couple of piano recitals. I'm doing an acting program now. I've done a lot of concerts, and For some of those, I was so freaked out. But I think it's getting a little better now, knowing that if something messes up or if something happens, it'll be fine. And I've gotten pretty good at like keeping going or like staying on the topic and not being like, oh my gosh, I messed up. And I think that's getting a lot better. I'm learning different ways in like choir and acting and like piano, of course. I think I'm still going to be freaked out when I'm older, but like I know how to like fix it if something goes wrong.
Now, what she does not know is that stage fright is no obstacle at all to being a performer. And in fact, the people who are the most prolific performers tend to have the most brutal stage fright. You wouldn't have stage fright in the first place if you weren't extremely concerned with doing a good job. And she is very concerned about doing a good job. So I actually think if she chooses to pursue performance, she's going to be a natural. It can be a little bit lonely to be a David Byrne fan in elementary school. Not many of her friends know who he is or are interested in him. And I keep telling her, well, just ask your friends' dads, right? Like that's more who his fan base is. My kids were not the only kids at this show, but yeah, his audience does tend to skew middle-aged and older.
In my school, only like 3 teachers know who in the world David Byrne is. One of my friends knows who he is. And I'm so like mad and sad because I have no one to share my excitement with. And like I've asked multiple days every day, I'm like, do you know who David Byrne is? And they're all like, who are you talking about? Sometime if they ever like come over to my house or something, the whole time they're here, I'm going to play David Byrne songs so they get an idea of who he is. They're all doing like the trendy stuff, I guess you could call it. Like there's still a lot of Taylor Swift fans. Like I think one of them knows who Charlie XCX is. I think there's like Beyonce, Billie Eilish. I also like Cat's Eye. The only reason I know them is because in a game I was playing, an update about them popped up. And so now me and my cousin are obsessed. A lot of the kids in my class know who they are, so that's good.
I asked Bernadetta what artists she likes other than David Byrne.
I like Charlie XCX and Taylor Swift. David Bowie and David Byrne are still very big ones for me. I think it's the same stuff with like David Byrne. Like they both have really, really cool songs. They've both worn very crazy and cool costumes. I also like Bjork. It's a whole family thing.
As we were waiting outside Radio City Music Hall, there was a poster for the tour. And in the poster, David Byrne is wearing an absolutely insane outfit. Words fail me. I'll just put it in the episode description. And the kids pointed out that it looks a lot like something that Bjork would wear.
When we first saw that costume, we thought like Bjork would wear that, to be honest, like in one of her concerts.
And let me tell you, as a Bjork fan myself, and, you know, their mom, my wife, is a huge Bjork fan. It has been super, super gratifying that the kids are getting into Bjork. And it's not because we forced her on them. I don't even really know how it happened. I think she was just sort of on. And at some point, the kids were just like, ooh, who's this? We like this. They certainly have not liked everything that I have introduced them to or that their mom has introduced them to, and it's a little unpredictable what they're going to react to. It's not surprising that they like, you know, the Beatles or Michael Jackson, but yeah, some of this edgier, artsier, more experimental stuff, like it's always very unpredictable how they're going to react to it. And so I'm pleasantly surprised that they have reacted so well to Bjork at their young ages. But I am not at all surprised that they like Talking Heads and that they like David Byrne because, yeah, he's accessible. He's a weirdo, but his weirdness makes sense for kids, right? Like there's something kind of naive and childlike about his songwriter persona, yeah? There is something about Don't Worry About the Government where, yeah, there's like layers of irony to it, but you could also just take it at face value and just enjoy it as like this kind of wide-eyed, joyous appreciation of the weirdness of the world. Yeah. And it's interesting to compare the songs that the kids react to the ones that I myself prefer. My favorite Talking Heads song by a wide margin is Once in a Lifetime.
And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack. And you may find yourself in another part of the world. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down.
And the kids appreciate it, but they don't think it's that deep. Like, they like the more kind of songy ones better. Meanwhile, I am very attached to the kind of artsy and edgy side of Talking Heads from the 80s. And yeah, the kids just, they don't really care about that stuff. They like it fine, but they like the sort of brighter, kind of more transparent sound of present day David Byrne. The fact that his present day songs tend to more be about things and tend to be like less about surreal wordplay. Yeah, it makes sense that they would react more positively to something like Everybody's Coming to My House than to something like Houses in Motion, right? All I can say is play Talking Heads for your kids. Play David Byrne solo albums for your kids, especially the recent ones. They're fun, and his music is a great window into various kinds of Latin grooves, and the production and arrangement and orchestration on these last couple albums has been real interesting. He does curse occasionally, but if my daughter's going to be listening to Charlie XCX, like, she's not going to hear anything in a David Byrne song that's going to be particularly shocking. I asked Bernadetta if she had a message for David Byrne. If he was, for some reason, listening to this podcast, what would she want to say to him?
I would say, I really love your songs, and I've gone to see you, I think 2 times or more in the future. And I really, really love it. I love your dance choreography, and I love your songs. I love the words, and I'm really happy I got to see you.
David Byrne, thanks for bringing my family so much joy, especially my daughter. And thank you very much for listening.
What's the matter with him?
He's alright.